Borough Park and other communities last night. And regardless of the protests themselves, what do you say to members and leaders of the Orthodox community who believe that these lines are unfairly singling their communities out, that this isn't about general spread, it's about their communities specifically?
I'll take them in the reverse order. This is about protecting everyone's lives, Andrew. This is about all New Yorkers. And when you look at the communities in Brooklyn and Queens, it's lots of different kinds of people. Remember, we're talking about two of the most diverse places on earth, Brooklyn and Queens. So within these areas are many kinds of people, and we want to protect everyone. This is based on data and science. I'll let Dr. Choksi talk about that in a moment. But on the other question, I'm aware of the protests that occurred. I spoke to Commissioner Shea and his team this morning. Again, very clear that we are dealing with a health emergency. The state has laid down very clear rules. Everyone must follow those rules. The NYPD will be enforcing those rules. We want to be respectful, but I want to be very clear. When the NYPD issues an instruction, as with any other situation in the city or any other protest, if the NYPD issues an instruction, people must follow the instruction. If they don't follow the instruction, then they are liable for whatever consequences occur. Go ahead, Dr. Choksi, about why these specific areas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we've said over the last few weeks and months, we will go to where the data takes us with respect to where we're worried about spread of the coronavirus. It's why we went to Tremont in the Bronx in July. It's why we went to Sunset Park in August. And it's why we've been communicating about the areas of concern across Brooklyn and Queens that we have over the last few days and weeks. We are concerned, as you know, based on two major indicators that we follow. The first is when we see a rapid increase in cases in a particular area, and then the second is the percentage of tests coming back positive. And those are the things that we look at on a day-to-day basis, quantitatively matching it up with the areas where we're concerned.
Go ahead, Andrew.
With the maps themselves, are they going to be finalized today? Will they be searchable by address? One of the things we're hearing from people is you might have a street where a business on one side of the street has to close and on the other side of the street doesn't have to close. There's a lot of confusion out there about whether people are in red, orange, or yellow. So how soon will people be able to punch in an address to determine exactly which zone they land in?
Yeah, we're working on that right now with the state to get it 100% clear. What the health department here originally proposed was zip codes, because even though it was not perfect, it was still a clear methodology. The state has come up with a different approach. We're working with the state to get very clear the exact boundaries and then put that online and make it searchable by address. Again, enforcement will start tomorrow. When we send out agencies to do enforcement, we're going to alert business owners if they are in one of the zones that requires closure or modification. We'll alert them, and we'll obviously give them the chance to immediately act on it. If a business owner refuses, they would be liable for penalties. But I think what everyone wants to do here is comply with these rules to make sure that everyone is safe. And I think the vast, vast majority of business owners throughout this crisis have complied with rules once they understood them. So we'll get that information out as we get clarity from the state. And then in the enforcement effort, there'll be a huge education effort to let people know which zone they're in and obviously give them an immediate chance to abide by the rules. We don't want to penalize unless we have to. What we'll penalize is where people openly attempt to defy the rules.
The next is Emma Fitzsimmons from the New York Times.
Emma?
Hi, good morning, Mayor.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for taking my question. Can you talk about the governor's restrictions on houses of worship? Are they necessary? Do you think they hold up in court?
Yeah, I do think both. I think they are necessary and they do hold up in court. They're based on facts, data that's been looked at very carefully. We warned people well over a week ago that we were entering into a dangerous situation. We need to do this for the good of everyone. Now, I want to emphasize, Emma, in the spring, leaders in all communities, all faiths, and I commented many times on this, really admirable efforts by faith leaders across the spectrum, telling their own congregants how important it was to stay home, turning to other types of approaches for worship, and really respecting the fact that this was about the health and safety of the communities they represent. I expect we'll see that again, that the vast majority of leaders will want to be part of the solution for the health and safety of their own communities. So we know that we've got to get out of this, and we've got to get out of it quickly. No one wants to see a full resurgence, a second wave in New York City. If we get a second wave, then a lot more will be shut down for a lot longer. No one wants to see that. So I think the governor's plan is the right one, and we will work with the state to enforce it. Go ahead, Emma.